Gentleman yields. I now recognize Mr. Magaziner for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. We need more funding for Homeland Security and border security. I was supportive last Congress of the bipartisan plan from the Senate to increase funding for border security, and I support more funding now. But what I cannot and will not support is the Trump administration locking up people with no due process, including people who are charged with no crimes, separating parents from children, sending people to foreign prisons, deporting children who need cancer treatment. It doesn't have to be this way. Our government can be effective without being cruel. And Donald Trump's disregard for due process puts the freedoms of all Americans at risk. Here's what I'm talking about. Andre Romero. And I'd ask my colleagues, do me the courtesy, put down the phones for just a minute and listen to this one story. He is a gay makeup artist who worked for a television station in Venezuela. He fled Venezuela because he was being persecuted by gangs linked to the dictator, Maduro, for his political beliefs and his sexual orientation. He made the grueling trip north to our border and presented himself at a port of entry to ask for asylum. If you remember nothing else about his story, remember this. He did not enter our country illegally. He did not enter our country at all. He didn't cross the border. He didn't sneak across. He did the right thing. He presented himself at a port of entry and asked for asylum. He did it the legal way. And when he was interviewed at the border, officers found that he had a credible asylum case that was likely to be approved at a full hearing. But he never got a full hearing. Why? Because instead, the Trump administration shipped him to the torture prison in El Salvador. He was never accused of a crime, has never been linked to any gang, and never entered the country illegally. The only rationale that the administration has ever provided for why he was sent is that he has 2 tattoos, one that says mom and one that says dad. He is still there in that prison in El Salvador today and has never received his hearing. I'll give you another, Fabian Schmidt, a German-American green card holder living legally in New Hampshire with permanent U.S. resident status. He was returning home after visiting his father in Europe and was taken to a prison in Rhode Island and has been held there for nearly 2 months. When he was detained, he was stripped naked, placed in a cold shower, and denied his medications, leading to his hospitalization. He has not been charged with any crime. We still don't know why he's in jail. The Department of Homeland Security has provided no justification for his imprisonment at all. His only record, simple possession of marijuana and a DUI in 2015 and 2016. That's it. That's it. He has an 8-year-old daughter whose father has been locked up in prison for the last 2 months, and nobody knows why. During the course of this markup, you will hear many stories like this of children with cancer deported and unable to receive treatment, families separated, and people thrown in jail with no criminal charges and no explanation. None of this is necessary. Andre Romero could be at his asylum hearing, and Fabian Schmidt could be home with his daughter, and this country would be no less safe. What should scare all of us is that the Trump administration seems to think that they are above the law and can lock people up and send people to foreign jails with no charges and no evidence. Look, we need to fund border security. Of course we do. But as a Congress, we have a responsibility to ensure that the administration uses its enormous power responsibly, that innocent people are not locked up and tortured. That is our job. If Congress doesn't hold this administration responsible, who will? And I'll tell my Republican colleagues right now, look, I'll support more funding for border security if you work with us to include language to make sure that the administration uses its awesome power responsibly, that we do our duty as a Congress to prevent executive overreach and ensure that innocent people are not locked up without due process. So let's withdraw this bill. Let's work together on a better one that combines funding with accountability. We can do both. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields. I now recognize the ranking member.
Very much, Mr. Chairman. I think you can tell from